Good morning, everyone.
You got to do all the intros and everything. There's a lot of people that are watching you now. You gotta join us for coffee. Say hello.
Hello,
Do the intro.
I'm Tim, and this is my wife Amber, right here. And we are two of the five that moved from the city and moved to the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, where we live with our son. And
Just where we would live our family off grid.
yeah, we live with our family off grid.
And what does off grid mean to you?
And we live off grid because we've had the
No, not that far. I'm just saying we got electricity easy.
we have electricity. We have solar, and we have pretty much everything that we need to survive up here. And
Welcome for joining us for coffee.
so, thanks for joining us. We're gonna have coffee, and
I'm coming. I need you to scoot your butt up so I can pull the chair out. Okay. This isn't hard at all.
here we are.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning. How are you? Um, so anyways, let's see if we can arrange this just a little bit better. Oops, wrong way. Here we go. Woo. Sorry, we weren't ready, y'all. I mean, we got up and started making fires and getting everything together, and then before you know it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 9 o'clock, and I didn't even have my coffee poured yet. We're really behind. We get an early start every other day of the week, including Sunday. So Saturday, I'm kind of like dragging just a little bit.
So today I've noticed that I'm on the other side. I'm usually on this this side.
What are you talking about? You saying it flipped?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't.
it
I'm
flipped.
not techno. Oh yeah, we're looking at ourselves like that. That's funny. I'm up. The dog had to go out. Oh, I can understand. Good morning. So, here's one of those things. When you join us for coffee, you never know what you'll get. And the last couple weeks have been crazy because we've battled a lot of sickness and the cold and frozen weather and frozen ice and everything else. The chickens are going crazy down there. Did you put the dog's food down there?
Well, Sadie's food is down there.
Oh, well, they're all eating it. Now the dogs are going to go eat the chickens. Yep. So, sorry, I just noticed that. And it's weird being flip flopped. I don't know if I like this. I'll look at you and you look at me.
I
How's
know.
that?
I mean, I noticed it, but I'm all right with it.
Okay. So, anyways, and we don't have anything scripted. We just, grab a cup of joe and we talk about the things of life. I will say one thing that was on my heart this morning, because I always pray before we have our coffee chat. I pray that we're all blessed. Y'all, us, that we just, if something's on our heart that we need to talk about, or if something's on your heart that you need to talk about. And this morning, before we went live, I started praying, and all the animals were making noise, which they do come feeding time. And we've got way too many roosters, and they all make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
I said, there you go. That's it. That's what's been on my mind all week is the noise.
There's a lot of noise.
In our lives. And I was talking to our friend Jashar about that this week. and it's something that God's been dealing with me about for 4 years. Now, remember when he told me to be still?
So you're saying that you have to get in that state where you can hear God.
Yes.
And there are times when we're so wrapped up in life and
Everything we got going
the
on.
noise of the world, it kind of drowns him out.
Yes. Look at you on the same page as me. We didn't even plan this, y'all. I didn't even tell him what I wanted to talk about.
I've been there. many times.
And this is the thing, we can get so busy, even off grid homestead, that you don't take a moment. You and Lyndon were gone yesterday. They worked down in the holler, replacing a deck all day. And I was up here working because I work online, and I stopped. My internet wouldn't work. Beautiful day outside. My internet wouldn't work. And I got frustrated and I got mad. And I'm sitting here refreshing everything and holding my phone around the house trying to get a little signal, and it wouldn't get a signal. I said, okay, God, I get you. You're trying to disconnect me, so I'll connect with you. I get it. And so I just like put my computer aside, put my phone down because I was so frustrated, anyways. And I just waited for a moment and I prayed and I just tried to hear him. And I think we get distracted by all the noise in our lives. And when we were in the city, when we lived in the city, you don't understand how much all of the electronics in the city and the lights and the plugs and the TV and the Wi-Fi and the router and the hum of the electricity of the fridge,
Yeah.
and you just don't, there's no way you can grasp how that is affecting your functionality. You don't get it until you remove it all from your life. Go ahead and let her out again. I'm so sorry. Our chicken walked the walk of shame. They got locked out of the coop last night. Oh goodness. We don't lock our coop anymore. We used to, and um we definitely did when before we had our livestock guardian dogs, but we don't have to, thankfully, deal with those type of nighttime predators much anymore. It's the daytime ones. Um but yeah, I can understand them getting locked out.
A walk of shame.
Yeah, and he might lose his top place in the hen house too if he ain't in there protecting his girls. Some other rooster might take that opportunity to get to the top of the rank.
Yeah.
But anyhow, the noise.
Yeah, the noise. Now I will say when we first moved here, Amber, she was, I don't know if she was uneasy or what, because she said it was too quiet. I guess we just hadn't adjusted yet.
No, and I still have that. Like yesterday, when I told you to be quiet for a second, he was breathing too loud. He was breathing too loud. And I thought I could hear something.
Now that's amazing when all you can hear is someone breathing. That's quiet.
Now that noise even gets on my nerves.
The air going through my nostrils, Bozer.
But and then even so when I was talking to Jashar, it wasn't she wasn't expressing about how she personally felt, so to speak. But you can get wrapped up in all of your job, your to-dos, your volunteering, especially if you are try to serve others, which you should, but you can get that volunteer overwhelm and volunteer burnout because you're just constantly busy. The busy can keep you full of noise. And it's not just necessarily the electronics and everything. And there's the more I'm reading into just all the stuff that I find interesting, talking about how our bodies are energy, you know, and in a positive way. God breathes that life into us, and when it's our time to go, our energy, our soul, our spirit are instantly in his presence. And that's how we believe. Our body's nothing without our soul and our spirit. But there's just so many things that can interfere with that. And when we're saved as believers in Jesus, his Holy Spirit enters us. Well, we're too big, and he's there to guide us. We're too busy hearing the noise of everything else. We ain't going to hear him.
Well,
We
yeah,
need to reconnect.
those are definitely times when you don't want to miss out on anything, because you're not only missing out, blessings for you, is you're missing out for trying to help someone else, bless someone else.
Well, because you're too busy to pay attention to those in need around you. We've been that. You've probably been that too when you go shopping. and you're in a grocery store and you've got what, 5 or 6 errands you got to run. You go in there, you put your shopping cart, you look straight ahead, you get what you got to get, turn around and go out. You ain't paying attention to nobody else.
Yeah, you try not to make eye contact.
Or you see that homeless person standing on the side, the grocery store with a cardboard sign all wrote out about what they're needing, and or you ain't paying attention to nobody because you all wrapped up with a noise. And this week we went to a wellness center, and the woman is an RN, and she had the calling several years ago to give up her practice with Western medicine, and she felt God was leading her down a different direction. And we got some referrals for this woman. She's a believer in Christ. She shares her testimony and her faith first. I don't know her well enough to form any other opinion other than the fact that I liked what she had to say. I loved and appreciated her calling. And she deals a lot with being quiet and listening to your body and what it tells you, and or what your body tells you is wrong. She goes, your body will talk to you if you just be quiet and listen to it and tell you what you need. And her entire program is based on the things that God gave us to heal ourselves, for Him to heal us through the things that He gave us. Let's make that clear. And she's like, I don't get to take any of the credit. It's all God. She goes, I don't cure you. She goes, I just guide you to the things that will help take care of the root of the cause. And she goes, God does it. She never failed to give acknowledgement to God for everything that He created and provided for us. And I've been so busy in my work lately, and I get wrapped up in the noise of it, and especially since I'm plugged in. And the other day, I just went outside and stood on the ground barefoot and just stood in the sun and I'm just like, I need to reconnect because I'm hearing too much noise. I need to get rid of it out of my life.
Mm.
And not necessarily the roosters crowing in the background. So I can hear.
Yeah, we're used to the roosters now.
So, oh, she didn't. She say she had 50 guineas. She goes, don't those guineas drive you
Yeah.
crazy? Because I don't even hear them. And if I
50
hear
is a
them,
lot.
50 is a lot. But they have 250 acres. 50 wouldn't be that much for
Well,
250
if they're
acres.
all in one spot, yeah, and next to the house, yeah, you're gonna
But
hear them.
I now, if I hear the guineas, that's when it's a lot. That's when I hear them. Like if they're all together raising a ruckus, then I know something's going on. Snake, some intruder, or somebody who shouldn't be here. But sometimes I think that you can get a calling to Homestead, can cook all your stuff from scratch, start eating a certain diet, and it can be a true calling. The Holy Spirit's leading it on you, and it's for a purpose. It's so you can be healthy. It's so you can help others. It's because God knows what's going to happen down your life where you're going to need that skill. And then you get wrapped up in the noise of your life and you lose your focus and don't do it anymore. You don't have time for it. And I was thinking about that about our health. When we were listening to this wellness expert, she didn't tell me anything I didn't know already. She told me everything that I quit practicing and forgotten about because I got too busy with the noise.
Mm.
And I've sat there, looked at her, and I'm listening to her talk to Timmy about, what her body's telling him and what's really going on with him. And she was spot on. She didn't look at any of your paperwork before you go. She didn't look at any of your medical questionnaire. She didn't even talk to you before she does her exam because she wants God to lead her in the right direction. And she was spot on. And while I was in the office listening, I'm like, how did we get so disconnected from the path that we were on? How did we get so disconnected from the real food?
Convenience and just being a part of the rush of, caught up in the world and just we got to hurry up and do this, got to hurry up and get there. And, you're living at the convenience of what the world has to offer now. And it's a lot of things that are just, it's not what your body needs.
It's to distract us too.
Oh, yeah.
I think because Satan knows that if you need to distract us, which is easy to do, then we're not going to be on the path that we need to be on. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And distraction is easy. And we're being distracted as a world from the truth constantly on a daily basis. And it's from being subjected to the mainstream media, social media, and all of the noise and busyness in our lives. And that's not a good thing, y'all. I mean, have you felt that you were a part of your life that you were doing really good? Like you were raising your own food, you were cooking from scratch, or maybe it was even in a volunteer aspect where you really felt good about it, or even your job or in your health journey. And something happened. I mean, what happened? How did you get distracted and off path? And what are you going to do to get back? What I was talking about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I think I've shared this testimony. If you haven't heard it before, I'm going to say it again. I was driving home from work. We were running out of our savings that we had from moving here. We sold everything that we owned. We weren't in debt when we moved, so everything was cash. We bought our land with cash. We worked really hard for it for several years, couple decades, and God blessed, our obedience when He told us to move. And then we got here, and like Timmy said, we were so wrapped up in the busyness, and we didn't have a kitchen, so we weren't cooking from scratch anymore. We were going out to eat all the time, and I mean, there was just a thousand things that were going on. And we didn't pray before every expenditure. We just foolishly spent, oh, we need this, we need this, we need this. And before you know it, we're running out of money. And so I'm like, well, Timmy, you got to stay home and continue building. Our house ain't even done. We haven't even moved in there. I'll go out and get a job. You stay here and work all day because I can't do what you do. And so that's what we did. And I was miserable. And I remember crying on the way home, going, God, you left me. What happened? You promised, you took us out of our home and our job and our security and our comfort. And you brought us to this middle of nowhere. I know nobody. I don't have any friends here. We burned through all of our money. I don't even know how to pay the bills next month. What, and I was mad. And and he goes, just be still. I'm like, do you know me? Have you ever met me? I'm not still, ever. If I'm bored, I find something to do. I build a new business. I create a new product. I'm not the still person. And so I didn't listen. And every time I didn't listen, I was miserable in that decision. And he kept saying, be still. He said it to me a bunch. Matter of fact, right after that, we went to church, and those boys that sang, Cody and Justin,
Yeah.
the song was to be still. And I'm like, I was just crying like a baby. I'm like, okay, I'll be still. I didn't know. I didn't even know how to be still. I didn't know what that meant. Remember, I struggled with that. And so I was disobedient a lot, and I kept doing things, and I was miserable. And sometimes he just needs you to be still so you can be quiet and get rid of the noise and listen to his direction.
I've never been able to be like that. It's
What?
to be
Which one?
still and just listen for God. It's um it's just something, it's it's like that person that just sits there and he's antsy and he can't, you know.
Yeah, ants in your pants.
Yeah. You get focused on something that you want to do, and there's just nothing that can change your mind, you know, at that moment.
because you're following your desires
Yeah,
and what
yeah,
you want.
exactly.
I think that's the one glorious thing about gardening. If you think about it, there's so much, there's so many miracles that happen with gardening, period. But, and there's so many, metaphors and stuff you can use with it about taking the seed and planting the seed and sowing it and watering it, nurturing it, and then have it nurture you. I mean, there's just so much that goes with it. But one, that was the very first job that he gave to mankind.
Teaches you patience too.
Tend the garden. It teaches you patience, lots and lots of patience. And but you're also being connected with nature, his creation on a daily basis. You're getting your hands in those microbes and the beneficial bacteria. And you can't be in a hurry and garden.
No.
You if you're in a hurry and you try to garden, you can forget it. I mean, we always feel like as gardeners or homesteaders that we're trying to beat the clock because you've only got so much time to process something before it goes bad and harvest it before the next frost and that kind of thing. And I get it. But um when you're outside working in nature and you're hoeing the garden and you're weeding it, that's a great time to be still and take that time to listen for him
I think those are the places you need to kind of put yourself and
on purpose.
yeah, and I think it's just a good combination to put yourself there to hear God because man, what better place to be than
And then you just and for I like to, you got to pray over your harvest. Lord, make this plant give me what my body needs. You know, let it nourish you. And that's when we were talking to that woman at the wellness center. She was like pulling out these things. She goes, "This is food. It's it is like flash frozen, dehydrated, powdered food." Um, in my opinion, our food should be our first source of nourishing us. I was watching another thing by Dr. Sanji this morning, and he's like, people don't eat food. Your body doesn't know what to do with the stuff that we're eating anymore.
yeah.
It doesn't even fill us. Have you ever eaten somewhere and you feel you're full, but you're not full? Like you feel like your body's still craving something. That's because nothing that you put in your body nourished you. And I'm really guilty of that. Like when my sugar's low, I just reach for the carbs because I know it'll spike my sugar up, which is horrible for my thyroid. But if people actually ate real food, what?
Not, I'm following you, and I just there's food that you eat
To
that
fill you.
that makes you sleep, and then there's food that actually you
Oh,
eat
did you
that
just think
gives
of
you
it?
energy, and
Makes you.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
and I think a lot of times we eat things that just makes us want to go to sleep.
Well, in more than one ways, it
You're
dulls your
miserable.
senses.
Oh yeah.
You're eating, feeding the cure, feeding the disease. Is that what they say? Can you get the coffee? It's boiling. And just check to see to add a stick. Because I'm actually going to cook breakfast. I saw. Well, I mean,
I loaded it up, but it's good.
I thought you were actually getting coffee though. You're not getting coffee. Oh, you in a thing?
I'm in a thing.
I don't know.
I'm all right.
You got a
I
plan?
got some. Right? What?
I don't know. You looked at the clock when you looked at your coffee cup. I didn't know if you were going to have more coffee or not.
I
Okay.
got a little bit of coffee.
But anyhow, and I just saw this other study, and I don't even know how old it was, but they took a group of children and they had two study groups. And one study group, they gave the children, they had one egg every day for a year. That was the only thing they changed about their diet. And then the other study group, they didn't. And at the end of that year, the study group that had that extra egg every day, the protein, the nutrients, the
Yeah.
omega fats, um, their IQ increased by 15% versus the other study group. Now, take with that what you will. I mean, I don't have any medical science or journal to quote or anything. It just, I love when I see snippets like that because it makes me want to dig further to educate myself
Yeah.
more about real food and how it benefits us. And I honestly believe everyone when again I was talking to Jashar, she was getting mad about or my friend Carol, Cupcake Carol.
Yeah.
We call her Cupcake Carol because that was how I met her. She designed these beautiful cupcakes, and that name just stuck with her. Um, she's mad right now about the because she's waking up and she's reading the ingredients and everything that she buys. If
Mhm.
you want to wake up to what they're doing to you, start reading the ingredients and researching them. And those are the only ingredients that they disclose. There's so many that they don't have to disclose because they're patented, trademark, brand name, whatever. And then research what that does to your health and what other products like so many ingredients that are in food products are in cleaners, paints, bombs, pesticides, all that kind of stuff. They're in our food. And she's like getting mad about it. It's like, why? You know, and truth be told, we can all get mad, or we could start taking accountability for our own health and our own food and go back to real food without ingredients. And I told her, I said, because I said, don't get mad. They are, and we've been deceived and we believed and we wanted to because it's convenient. It's like if I don't want to take the time to cook my family a from scratch meal and be a part of the process of growing it, sowing it, harvesting it, and cooking it, how can I get mad at a company that's only out to make money for putting crap in that instant box of dinner that I
Yeah.
bought? You know,
Well, I think when they make that box of food, they are
and call it
making
food.
it so it can sit on the shelf for a long time.
Hmm. So don't spoil, so they
So
don't
it
lose their
doesn't
bottom
spoil.
dollar.
Yes. And then when
What's
we
the?
when we get it and we put it in our house, you know,
It sits there.
it's going to sit there for a long time. And then when we get ready to eat it, it's going to be,
It funds the sick industry too,
yeah. So,
which they it's a multi-billion-dollar
and in the back of
industry.
their mind, the whole time, they're like, if we make it, they're going to buy it because it's, you know, if they want it, they're going to purchase it. And
It'll make them sick.
yeah, even though, down the road, it's going to give them, make complications with their body or whatever. And it's just going to,
But going back to that, the food that you eat, if you're not, you're feeding the disease or they're feeding the cure. That's bottom line. I know for a fact from personal experience when we eat good and we have removed the junk in our diet and eating whole food, I have clarity of mind. I don't have the brain fog. Well, what does clarity of mind and no brain fog do for you? You know, you hear that, oh, I get brain fog, but I can hear direction better.
yeah,
I'm more acutely aware of everything that's going on around me.
yeah, you're actually conscious. So you can be aware of, oh man,
I can be aware of the needs of my family. I can be aware of the needs of my own body. I can be aware of the needs of others. That's what clarity of mind does for me. It gives me energy when I wake up. It gives me direction for the day instead of feeling like I'm spinning my wheels all day long, not knowing what to do. I also feel like I have a better relationship with my father, my heavenly father. I feel like I talk to him more, I can hear him more. And that's what getting rid of the kind of like the noise in our food source does for me. But there's more than just what we eat. It's always a balance. You can't do one without the other, in my opinion. You know, but this week when I was talking to her and she goes, "You got to listen to your body." I'm like, "How do you listen to your body?" But I knew. I mean, I know. But I'm sitting here going, "How do we get back to that?
yeah,
How do we get back to that path that we were on, so we can get rid of some of the extra noise in our lives?" And man, we were talking about that earlier this week too, because we were talking about dehumidifying the house. We'll cover that subject later in the future. One of the things that she was telling him, and I know I have an issue with, is mold, right? Lots of mold,
We live in the mold.
allergies,
We live in the mold capital.
because of all those the mold
The
spores that are going on
trees,
with the
yeah.
trees and the hummus and the leaves and everything out here. The
The hummus. The hummus.
breakdown of the leaves in the grass and stuff around us. Anyhow, and there's a lot of mold, and the humidity is really high. And because we don't have like central heat and air, we have to leave our doors open for circulation. And we were talking about getting a dehumidifier for those times to help with that. And I told my husband, what did I tell you about my thoughts on that?
Well,
You're going to forget, aren't you?
it wouldn't. I don't think it would work right now.
You forgot what I said. What I'm saying is that I don't want one more electric device in our house. I have an enough hard enough time now hearing. I don't want anything else interfering with that. That's what I said. So unplugging, and when I'm talking about if you're trying to get rid of the noise in your life, you don't have to move off grid, but try actually unplugging everything in your house. Not like your refrigerator and stuff, but and not just turning it off, like because when you turn it off and there's still that little red light on that shows you that it's off, it's still generating that hum, even if you don't hear it. Unplug it from the wall. There's actual plugs that you make that stop that current, but I can't remember what they're called. You can Google it. Um, but anyways, and just do it for a day, half a day, couple hours, whatever you need to do. Even if there's just one room that you can do that in, where you can like literally unplug every device, turn off the lights, go outside is even better if you have that ability, and away from the city sound and street lights and a Wi-Fi router and all of that, and just try to reconnect. Do it once a week, if nothing else, and you'll be surprised at the difference in your life when you just start to reconnect with the things that God created and
Yeah.
get rid of the noise in your life to just listen for direction again. The more I talk to so many people that feel like they're just spinning their wheels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't have direction. And I just think they have too much noise in their life to listen to what the Holy Spirit's telling
I
them.
think I think that you have times where it's really quiet that you need to take the opportunity to just take that in.
Good morning, Kathy. How are you, sister? Um, Coincidence and excuse evolutionists used to explain always in God's hand, direct hand in our lives. Yep. Kathy, you missed a lot, but you can watch it again if you want to. We're just talking about getting rid of the noise in our lives so we can get a direction again, just to hear God again, get back in nature, unplug, get rid of all the extras in our life for a little bit. And I need to purposely do this because I'm so wrapped up in my work right now that I'm feeling very overwhelmed. And I feel like I am spinning my wheels. And I'm aware of the fact that I'm doing that and I know what I need to do. So I need to take those steps to do that at least.
Yeah, when we lived at the beach, Amber used to hear a train, and there was no train there. So yeah,
I could have been. I mean, I swore I heard a train just coming right through our
I think it was the
property.
Midway Fire Department, but it could. She thought she heard a train. I don't.
And after we moved here, I said I can hear the earth.
Yeah,
I'm not crazy, y'all.
she can hear the gears turning in
I
there.
could. I could hear. It's kind of like a heartbeat. I haven't been able to hear it in months.
It's the core.
Since my knee surgery, actually.
Yeah, the core.
I'm not going to go off the deep end yet. I'm just saying I can't hear it anymore. My ears feel plugged and I feel cloudy and I don't have, I feel in a daze for
Yeah,
months.
yeah. We've got to get that clarity back. Definitely.
We hear the train too. Turned out it's emergency vehicle. Still sounds like a train. See, I'm not crazy. Thank you, Kathy.
I tried to explain it to her, but
I said, no, it's a
I guess
train.
everybody kind of feels
I
that way.
grew up next to a train track, like
Yeah,
literally just a couple hundred yards away. It would rattle my windows every night.
yeah. And I know the
Childhood
thing.
trauma.
Ocean highways run back
But
and forth.
anyways, um, we'll talk. I want to talk more about the gardening aspect. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Because it's kind of during that winter slumber that you're sitting here planning everything. And as soon as it starts to get nice out, you get that gardening bug. You want to, especially if you've ever planted a garden before, you get really excited about starting the seeds and getting your hands in that dirt and the good microbes and just and watching them sprout and grow and take care of everything. We might be talking about that since we're talking about whole food and getting rid of some of the toxins and chemicals in our life. And it can also go with the whole prepping for peace. I mean, you can prep MREs and all your solar stuff and your batteries and stuff, but if you don't know how to grow food, all that junk's going to run out eventually.
Yeah, you can't eat dirt.
Mm, you could. All right, y'all, we got to get our Saturday going, but thanks for joining us for our morning chat. If you've got anything to add to this about the noise that's going in your life, if you're struggling like so many of us are, and you're just like spinning your wheels, you're not quite sure what direction to go into, and you just want accountability or someone to talk to about it, drop a comment, y'all. That's why we've developed our private groups. We're in Facebook, we're in MeWe, we're in Gab, we're a Mighty Network, and just join one of those if you want to have fellowship with like-minded people. And it doesn't have to be about chickens and goats and rabbit poop or anything like that. It can be about sharing your faith, your walk, your health journey, your health struggle. It's kind of all aspects of it. And we would love to have you and connect with you and just send us a message. But anyhow, we got to go. So y'all have a blessed day.
Thanks for watching.